Today I've got a bit of a Christmas thrift haul for you guys. This is things that I have kind of been collecting over maybe the past month. And first of all, I love thrifting and I regularly shop at our thrift store in town. And pretty much almost everything that I buy other than food comes from the thrift store. Which is why I also want to talk a little bit about building your home over time and collecting things that you love. So let's get into it. All right, you guys, I've got a nice cup of coffee here, actually a latte. Before we get started with this haul, I am just going to give you a brief rundown of my farmhouse and kind of what I like to collect, what inspires me, and then kind of where I'm at in my decorating journey, because I feel like this is not something that happens instantly, especially when you're on a budget. We moved into this farmhouse about 2 years ago now. And when we moved in here, I didn't have a lot of the things that I now have, because I was really inspired by the farmhouse itself. And I was drawn to certain items based on this home. So it took time for this house to kind of evolve into what it is now. When we first moved in, the landlord, because we do rent, the landlord was going to give this place a full paint job because there was mismatched colors all over the place and really old curtains, and just this place was really kind of dark and grungy. And so I just told him I wanted white walls. I just wanted to brighten up the space. I took down all of the old window coverings, and then I started to feel more drawn into sort of a farmhouse style. And for me, that means some of the things that I feel drawn to in my farmhouse style that I've been collecting are things like copper. I collect a lot of copper pieces in my kitchen, and wicker baskets would be another thing that I've been collecting for a while. And then I'm very inspired by vintage cookbooks. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But I've got a whole cookbook collection that is mostly from the 30s to the 60s, but I would say the majority of them are from the 40s to the 50s. And I have some that are older than that. And I was so inspired by my cookbooks that I started collecting vintage cookware to go with the cookbooks, because they had very specific cooking objects that they used in their cooking that are very specific to these vintage recipes. And so I've been collecting some of these items. In terms of my decorating journey and where I'm at now, there are definitely things that I want to change. There's definitely pieces of furniture that I would love to have, because a lot of what I've collected has mostly just been decorating objects, but I would really love to have a lot more oak cabinetry, and just there's so many things that I would love to have. But the furniture part is going to be a lot more of an investment in money. And where we're at right now financially with our farm is that a lot of our money goes into the farm. When it comes to the beginning of the season, it takes a lot of money to start up. And so I try to be extremely frugal and find pieces that are really inexpensive. So that's where I'm at right now. And in terms of my bedroom or any of the bedrooms, I kind of let my kids pick out their own bedroom stuff, and I don't show that on YouTube. In terms of my bedroom, it's not at all where I want it to be, but sometimes you have to live with things that you're not happy about. And so I'm just looking for things bit by bit and piece by piece. And there are a lot of things that I have done in this farmhouse that make me really happy. And so I feel like I'm part way there. So the items that I'm going to be sharing with you in this thrift haul are all things that I feel like I've held out for, because I go to the thrift store so often, and over time I have become very picky at the thrift store because I don't have a lot of needs when it comes to home items. I have wants. There is a difference. And my needs are currently met when it comes to everything that I need to have in a home. There's nothing I really need. So at this point, I'm really just replacing maybe objects with better objects, and I've always got my eye out for the older cookbooks, and I'm getting pickier with those because I have quite a nice collection. So I want things that kind of go with my current collection. And so let's get started with this thrift haul. The first thing I'm going to start with is a cookbook. And if you're new to my channel, I collect vintage cookbooks. It's something that I like. And part of the story behind this is that I was vegetarian for 10 years. And when we decided to move on from that diet and start eating meat again, I had been thinking about it for a while, and I was really thinking a lot about the meals that my mom made growing up. And to me, it was comfort food, and I missed it. And when I stumbled on my very first cookbooks, I have them right here. These were the very first vintage cookbooks that I ever found. And the first one that I found was this one. And this is the Modern Encyclopedia of Cooking by Meta Givens. And these are from 1949. And this one has beverages, breads, cakes, candies, canning, cooking, desserts, diets, and menus. But when I opened up this book, I realized that this wasn't it. There was another book that was supposed to go with this. And lo and behold, a week later, I found the other one. So whoever donated these had probably donated them together. And the second one that I found had all of the main meal items in it, the dinners and the lunches and all of that. So it was a really exciting thing when I found these cookbooks. And this was what really started my love of vintage cookbooks, old cookbooks. And these ones are just very special to me. So these are a key part of my collection. And lo and behold, this past week at the thrift store, I found Meta Givens' Encyclopedia of Cooking, a larger volume. And this one is from 1953. And one of the things that I've noticed about cookbooks from the 40s versus cookbooks from the 50s is that there is a very big difference to me, and I actually prefer the 1950s because the 1940s was during the war period and just after the war. And I feel like the cooking in those books feels slightly more contrived than the 1950s. And I feel like the meals are just a little bit more plain. And it's really meat, potatoes, and vegetables. And there is a lot of variety. Don't get me wrong, in those cookbooks. There's so much to choose from. But I feel like the 1950s just has a little bit more of a sparkle. I feel like women were at their peak of creativity in the kitchen as homemakers. They were coming out with so many fun recipes, including a lot of Jell-O recipes. And I feel like the 50s was a really fun time to be alive. And so when I found this copy of Meta Givens' Encyclopedia of Cooking from the 1950s, I was so excited. And There are so many things in here that I want to make. And it is different than the other copies. I have thoroughly looked over these books, and there are new recipes in this volume. So whether you're a lover of cookbooks like me or not, the thing about, I actually had a huge collection of modern cookbooks before I started collecting these. A lot of them were vegan and vegetarian cookbooks, and I had so many great cookbooks that I really enjoyed. What I noticed about the more modern cookbooks in comparison to these older ones is the newer ones are heavily focused on aesthetics, photography, and not to say that the recipes aren't good, but they are very limited in the scope of what they offer. In comparison to one of these cookbooks, you don't have all the flashy pictures, you don't have all of the beauty of a new cookbook, but I'm telling you, one of these cookbooks could probably give you everything you need for your entire lifetime. And I think that's why women held on to these for their entire lives, because they have absolutely everything you could think of, from breakfast dishes like pancakes and waffles to cakes and cookies and desserts and canning, and then all the dinner ideas you could think of, and every kind of meat, including wild meats like squirrel and duck and things that they would go out and hunt. So there's just such a huge scope of recipes in these old cookbooks that it's just, this is why I love them. So this copy of Meta Given's Encyclopedia of Cooking from the 1950s, I paid $4 for this. If you watched my last antique haul video, I went to an antique store that had a lot of old cookbooks like this. And in that antique store, the prices were anywhere from $30 to $50 to even more for one of these cookbooks. So to pay $4, that's why I hold out. So that was really a great score. And then I have another cookbook. This cookbook I got at the auction. In our thrift store, there is an auction going on all the time. They've got glass cases, and then they've got a book on top, and you place your bid, and people can bid against you, and no one knows when the auction is going to end. So I was checking up on this constantly, making sure that I had the highest bid, and only one other person bid against me. This is Mrs. Beaton's cookery book, which I'm pretty sure is a pretty famous cookbook. This is from the year 1912, and there are colored pictures in here. And this is not just a cookbook. There is a whole section in the beginning about housework, taking care of the home and kitchen, as well as taking care of servants and how to treat your servants and what to expect from them. And there are things like how to clean copper, tin, tiles, marble, polishing, washing your clothes at home, and management of servants, and importance of her duties, and so many things in this book. Interesting things. Now, I wasn't able to look at this book before I got it. I ended up getting it for $21, which I think is a really good price for this book. I love Downton Abbey. I'm a fan of Downton Abbey. And so, you know, the whole kitchen work downstairs and the servants and everything, that's what this makes me think of. And I will say that the recipes in this book don't seem very appetizing. Lamb's sweetbreads, fried. Mutton breast of grilled or broiled. Curried mutton. There are pictures of how to do things, which would have been really helpful, to be honest. Oh, interesting. I love a cookbook that has pictures in it. Breads. Okay, I haven't really, ooh, I love that. I haven't really looked over this cookbook too much just yet, but look at that. That's great. I love seeing these images. She's baking either cookies or, oh, okay, I think I know what she's cooking. These are little patty shells for, my mom used to actually buy these pre-made, and those are for, she used to make something called chicken a la king, and it's like a chicken sauce that you pour on top of these. Very interesting. I haven't thoroughly gone through this book yet, so I'm really excited about it. And, you know, in some of these old cookbooks, there are some weird recipes. However, I find it super fascinating and interesting, and anything to do with household management excites me. So $21 for this book. And so those are the two cookbooks that I found in the past while. I have seen other copies of old cookbooks, but if they're not in great condition, or if they're not interesting to me enough, I'm not going to get them, because I have such a big collection now that I don't need each and every cookbook that comes along. Okay, I only have a couple more items here. But like I said, I hold out for things that I really, really like. So the next thing is this cream and sugar set. And to me, this feels very Art Deco. Just that shape, that angular shape there, and just, I don't know, there's just something about it that just seems like it would be from that Art Deco period, which is really kind of in that Edwardian period, which I absolutely love. And there was no teapot to go with this. I don't often see glass objects that have this kind of a shape to them. And it seemed really unique to me and really old. And I don't think they're real crystal or anything like that, but let me know in the comments if you think these are Art Deco, or if you have any idea of when these might be from. I just thought they were very interesting and beautiful. And I just really love to collect old things like this. That's one of the things I love about thrifting, is that you can spend a couple bucks and get something that is a true work of art. You know, I believe I paid $1 each for these. What can you buy for $1 now? You know, you put $1 in a machine to get a gumball, or, you know, you can't even buy anything at the dollar store for $1 anymore. So to buy something that's possibly Art Deco, that could be from 100 years ago or more, to me, that's just so awesome. And I also love to collect pieces that I feel like these could become family heirlooms. And this is kind of what I love about thrifting and finding old things, is they become family heirlooms. They become items that are collectibles that you can pass along, or that are just so special that you don't want to get rid of them. And that's kind of the point that I'm at right now in my decorating journey, is because I don't have any needs in terms of household objects and things that I need. Rather, I'm looking for things that are beautiful, that can replace what I already have, and that I would be willing to keep long term. That's where I'm at. Okay, you guys, the last thing that I'm going to be sharing with you in this thrift haul is very exciting to me. I never thought that I would find something like this at the thrift store. And I'm just going to show you. I found a beautiful linen bedding set. I found a king-size duvet cover in this sort of sagey green color. And if you've been with me for a while here on YouTube, you will know that I've been collecting this color. Specifically in my kitchen, I replaced my dishcloths with some new cloths that were this color. And I kind of have this color spread a little bit throughout my home. So to find this in bedding was so exciting. And as soon as I picked it up, I thought that it was probably linen, but I didn't know until I got it home. But just looking at the crinkly, sort of loose nature of this weave was the first sign. And when I opened it up and found the tag, it confirmed that it is 100% linen, and it's from H&M Home. It was probably a really expensive set. And this is just going to make my bedroom tie in with the rest of my house. It's going to be a key piece in my bedroom for sure. And one of the reasons why I love collecting green is because there's so much wood in this house. And I feel like green is a natural complement to wood. I mean, just think about nature and the outdoors. It makes so much sense. And I also love that the closures are snaps. I really love that because buttons usually fall off and they're annoying. And so I couldn't be more excited to find this. I just found this and it costed $8.50. So I have 2 pillowcases and 1 duvet cover. And I'm so inspired by this. I'm probably going to be decorating my bedroom now for Christmas because that's the other thing. I'm really not the kind of person to go out and specifically look for Christmassy items to decorate for Christmas. And I feel like this color is perfect for Christmas, but it's also perfect any time of year. And that's what I like to go for, is classic pieces that I don't have to switch out. And, you know, I could add maybe a plaid throw over this to really scream Christmas without having to change this out in the spring or summer. This was just so exciting to me, you guys. I can't believe that I found linen bedding. And now I really want sheets to go with it, but I'm going to have to hold out. I don't know if I'm going to bite the bullet and go buy new sheets because I like to thrift everything, you guys. So that's everything that I found over this past month. And it took me a while to get my hands on this cookbook. I was bidding on it. I think their auctions go for around a month. And so I was bidding on this cookbook for a month solid. I actually only had 1 person bid against me for it. There's probably not a ton of people interested in old cookbooks like I am. So overall, this was a pretty good score. But as you can see, it takes time to build these collections. It takes a lot of time scouring and looking. And oftentimes, you're just sifting through junk, to be honest. You don't find a treasure every day at the thrift store, at least where I live. And more, it's becoming less and less that I find things that I love. And I don't know if it's just because I'm getting more picky, or if it's because there are actually less treasures coming in. I'm not sure. I hope you guys really are enjoying this thrift haul, and I'll probably do these a little more often on my channel because I think that not only do my viewers enjoy this, but I enjoy this. I love thrifting. And I'm not picking up items left and right. So it'll probably be every month or second month that I do a thrift haul. But sometimes I'll just show a little snippet of something I found in one of my videos. But I don't know, let me know in the comments if you want me to just hold off and do actual thrift haul videos like this, because I do think it's really fun. And I definitely watch other people's channels that do thrift hauls. So let me know what you think. I really want to thank you guys so much for the support and love that I've received from you in this past year on YouTube. I've gained a lot of new subscribers this year, and a lot of you give a lot of love in the comments, and I love that. And keep it coming, because this really is such an important thing for a creator, is that feedback. Because honestly, it's the only thing that really gives us that connection to our viewer and tells us, it's that little bit of insight into who is watching our videos and who is enjoying what we have to offer. And then it also is a little bit of building friendships. I've definitely got some viewers that have been with me for a long time. And so I just want to say a big thank you. And I'm wishing you guys all a really Merry Christmas with your family and your friends. And if you're new to my channel, I share videos every week on homemaking, food from scratch, and life on our farm. So if you enjoyed this video today, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in next week's video.